half reactions. A half reaction is a reduction or an oxidation reaction which includes electrons. Here's some examples. Notice how they all include these electrons. A half reaction does not occur by itself, and at least two such reactions must be coupled so that the electron released by one reactant is accepted by another in order to complete the reaction. Thus, this is called redox, and oxidation and reduction reactions must take place simultaneously in a system. Here's an example of one. Zn plus Cu2 plus goes to Zn2 plus Cu. First step is you assign oxidation numbers. So Zn is by itself, so it's going to be 0. Cu is an ion, so it's going to have the same as its charge, it's going to be +2. Same thing with Zn2 plus, and Cu by itself, again, is going to have an oxidation number of 0. Next step is to find out the agents. Well, we know Zn goes from 0 to +2, so therefore it's going up in charge, it's being oxidized. Cu is going from 2 plus down to 0, so therefore it's being reduced. Next step is to include the electrons where both sides of the equation has equal charge. Well, we know that Zn is being oxidized, so the oxidation half reaction is going to include electrons. When you add an electron, you're basically subtracting from the total charge. So we have +2 on this side, -2, and this side is equal to 0, and so it all adds up, and it's equal on both sides. The reduction half reaction, again, is going to include electrons. So therefore, we put the electrons on the reactant side, because this is +2, -2, and this equals 0. Hint, you always put the electrons on the side that has the higher oxidation number. Electrons are a negative charge, so they will reduce the oxidation numbers. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so we have Mg plus HCl goes to MgCl2 plus H2. Okay, again, we assign the oxidation numbers. This is 0, this is +1, this is -1, this is +2, this is -1, and this is 0. We know that Mg is being oxidized because it's going up in charge, it's going from 0 to +2. And we know that H is being reduced because it's going from +1 down to 0. So the oxidation half reaction, again, you know that oxidation is the losing of electrons, where we're going to add the electrons on the product side so that each side of the equation is equal. We know that this side is 0, so then this side also has to equal 0. +2 minus 2 equals 0. The reduction half reaction is where the reduction part is where the side of the reaction that's gaining electrons. So H is going from +1 down to 0. So this has to equal 0, and this side has to equal 0. Here's another one where we have our oxidation numbers again. We have 0, +2, +1, and 0. We know that lithium is going from 0 to +1. That's being oxidized. That's our reducing agent. Zn is going from +2 to 0. It's being reduced, and it's our oxidizing agent. Oxidation, remember, is the losing of electrons. So lithium is going from 0 to +1. Remember, both sides of the equation have to equal each other. This is 0. This also has to equal 0. And we add the electrons. Remember, you always add the electrons to the side that has the higher oxidation numbers. Okay? The reduction is gaining electrons. So we have Zn +2 goes to 0. So both sides of the equation again has to equal 0. So when we add 2 electrons, it will equal 0. Remember the little saying oil rig. Oil is losing electrons where electrons are put as products. Reduction is gaining electrons where the electrons are put as reactants.